the X-T5 now for almost 1 year, and I think I'm ready to share my thoughts on the camera, what I like about it, and how it fits into my photography workflow. If you follow my channel, most likely you'll know that I've tried a lot of different cameras over the years, and for the most part, I've enjoyed using the majority of them. But one camera system that I keep coming back to is the Fuji X system. Ever since I owned the Fujifilm X-T5 back in late 2016, I've really just had a soft spot for Fuji cameras. In fact, some of the videos that kickstarted my YouTube channel were all about the X-T5. I would say that the first thing that really drew me into the camera system was the design philosophy overall and the heavy focus that they seem to have on putting the user in the driver's seat. While a lot of people, including myself, do really like the look and feel of the dials on top of the camera, I think it really is more about how the camera makes you feel while you're shooting. It puts you in control when a lot of other camera tech is pushing towards smartification and taking the agency and decision making away from the consumer. The analog and manual feel that these cameras have just gives you like this sense of control over your tools that I think a lot of people do really like the feeling of. Of course, if you wanted this feeling, you could always go and pick up an old film camera and just shoot that. But I like the fact that Fuji is the best of both worlds because they are still extremely competitive when it comes to like specs and features. So the X-T5 for me, in a nutshell, is just the natural progression of everything that I really love about the Fuji X system. I picked up an X-T5 because I did really miss shooting with this style of camera. I love how compact and lightweight it is without compromising on build quality or performance. And there were a few upgrades, especially over the older X-T3, that made this new camera much more attractive to me as a main body for photography, the new battery being a big one. This came in with the X-T4. It's not new to the X-T5. However, I do remember when I had a couple of X-T3 bodies having to bring 8 or 9 of those older, smaller batteries just to get through a full day of shooting. Now with this new battery style, the much larger capacity, I very rarely find myself using more than 1 or 2 for a full day shoot. The camera now also has a 40 megapixel sensor, which, to be honest, for what I do, I don't really need. I'm not really finding myself cropping my images all too much, but if you are somebody who likes to have more resolution, who likes to crop, it's always a good thing to have a little bit more resolution. There were also some new lenses which I was really excited for. The 33 1.4 being the one that I was most keen to try out, and I can confirm this is now probably my favorite lens out of the entire Fuji lineup. And it was about time because those older lenses, while they were great for the time when they were released, they are starting to show their age a little bit. I also love the colors coming straight out of the X-T5. I found that they do really complement my style of editing. Even though I use my own custom Lightroom profile as a base for my edits, I really love the images on the screen coming straight out of camera. And if you are someone who doesn't like to edit a lot, just make minor tweaks from the straight out of camera image, there aren't many camera systems that really nail color like Fujifilm. On top of that, while I don't use them all too much, I really do like the concept of film simulations. Particularly Astia and Reala Ace are just really nice straight out of camera profiles. If I wasn't such a perfectionist with my color and tone editing in post, I would totally be happy with shooting straight out of camera JPEGs because they are just very beautiful looking. Personally, I've never had reliability issues with any of the Fuji cameras that I've owned, and so far I'm having a really similar experience with the X-T5. The shutters on these cameras have been extremely robust, and to this date, touch wood, I've never had to replace one. I do really like the ergonomics. I like the way that the X-T5 fits in my hand for a smaller body. Of course it could be better, but then the body would be much larger, which kind of defeats the purpose of having like a compact and lightweight setup. Also, I don't really mind not having a flip around screen. mind. Because I'm actually not shooting much video on the X-T5, it's mainly a photography camera for me. For video, I'm usually using the camera that I'm currently set up on here, which is the Sony ZV-E1, an absolutely phenomenal video camera. Having that tilt screen does allow the X-T5 a little bit of a slimmer profile. The in-body image stabilization in the X-T5 is great, but I will say it's still not quite on the level of the X-H2 and the X-H2S, which I did get to try out. And the IBIS on those cameras is amazing. I myself, not a huge fan of in-body image stabilization when it comes to video, but I would say honestly, even the X-H1 from quite a few years ago now still has, in my opinion, a better IBIS system than the X-T5. Having said that, it still does work great for stabilizing longer exposures and to just help eliminate camera shake when you're shooting stills. If you are mainly a video shooter thinking of getting into the Fuji system, I personally would recommend the X-H2 and X-H2S if you have the budget over the X-T5. Over the past few years, I've kind of moved away from trying to find the perfect camera that does everything. Instead, now owning a few really great cameras and simply picking the one that's best for the job. For me, the X-T5 is my pick up and go camera. It's the camera that I'm taking with me when I travel, to sling over my shoulder on beach days, and the camera that I take with me when I just don't feel like bringing anything else. Paired up with the amazing 18-55 lens, I feel really confident that I can make work that I'm proud of. But then also, if I want to create a really beautiful shallow depth of field, I can reach for one of the amazing prime lenses like the 16 1.4 or 33 1.4 that I own for this camera system. To be honest, I'm so much more focused nowadays on what's in front of the camera, what I'm actually taking pictures of versus the camera that I'm holding in my hand. And for me, the X-T5 is an incredible camera because I'm not frustrated or hyper fixated on the camera while I'm shooting. It has all the custom buttons and functions that I need while still being really simple and straightforward to use. I usually just have one single center point and then I've got that set to tracking. So I just place that point over what I want to focus on, half press the shutter, and then it will just track that object. And for the most part, I found that the autofocus works really great. Now, in saying that, I don't have crazy high expectations when it comes to autofocus system. I'm not really shooting weddings anymore, and I'm not really shooting any fast-paced movement like sport. It's mostly models, fashion shoots, and still life photography, lifestyle photography. And for what I need it for, it really works great. One thing that I will say that the camera system as a whole could improve on is like the variability of the autofocus performance. I've found that some lenses perform better than others, but hopefully in the future, like Fuji can implement that linear motor in more of their lenses. And hopefully because of that, the autofocus performance is more consistent. For example, the difference between my 16 1.4 and the 33 1.4 that I own is huge. The 33 is just so accurate, so snappy, while the 16 tends to hunt around a little bit. It's not a massive deal for me. I really do take my time with my photos and make sure that I get things in focus and things are locked on. Also, taking multiple shots really does help. So I've really enjoyed the X-T5. I've been loving the Fuji system as a whole because recently I just picked up a GFX 100S, and that is a hell of a camera. It does really fill an entirely different role in my photography workflow. However, I think it really does complement the X-T5 well. I've been using it for a couple of months now, so I'm really keen to share my first impressions of it and my experiences with it now that I've owned it for a few months. So if you are interested in hearing more about that, definitely stay tuned to the channel because I will be making a video really soon on the GFX. As always, if you guys have any other questions about the X-T5 or anything to do with photo video, let me know down in the comments section below. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Happy shooting, and I'll see you guys in the next one.